We may see biggest issues coming out of the pandemic or coming back into school being like, are kids learning? Was there learning loss? How do we keep them engaged? Do we have the systems in place in case kids need to access learning from home, maybe because they're sick or maybe because they're quarantining? We need to figure out kind of like those logistical issues. But the issues of like policing in our communities, the issues of racism and affordable housing, the issues of food insecurity and even access to college and things like that are just have kind of always been there. And so I think that when you have something that's always been there, it feels almost less solvable or less like it's harder to get your hands and arms wrapped around it to be able to say, okay, let's address this issue. Really engaged and really involved and protesting in the streets, and it was kind of like the thing to do. But then you get to the point where it's like, okay, people aren't in the streets anymore, but these issues are still going on. And so I think that there's a lot of kids that I've spoken with that have said, like this is still like these issues are still at my core, right? I still think about the police when I'm driving down the street and I just got my license. I still think about how I'm being perceived when I walk through a store. These aren't issues that just kind of go away for me. These are issues that I battle with every single day. One of the things that I've found most helpful with talking with youth, and something that we kind of come back to time and time again, is that no one no one as in like adults really like kind of take them seriously, right? They assume that they don't know what they're talking about. They assume that they don't have enough lived experience. They assume that they're blowing things out of proportion because of hormones or because of just kind of their experiences in life. And so they'll say, oh, don't worry about it. Oh, you'll be an adult one day, then it'll be real. You don't even have to pay bills yet. How are you so stressed or upset or depressed or anxious? You don't even have like the right or the ability to be anxious. And I think that for me, it's been really listening and understanding that what the kids and the youth are telling you is true, right? That's their own experience, and not taking their experience and kind of, saying, oh, shoo shoo, this is not what you think it is. There's so much more and there's so much worse to go on outside of life. It's understanding that what they're saying is true and understanding that they really have these lived experiences and it's traumatic, right? We're living through a plague. We're living through some like once in a human like lifetime type of issues. And I think that it's understanding that that's a part of it, right? And this it can be scary to think that you're going to grow up in a world that has misinformation, that has wars and what feels like never ending viruses. There's so many different things that they're going through. And on top of all that, you have kids that are Black and brown that are dealing with racism, that are dealing with continued prejudice as it just permeates through. And I think that it's understanding that their experiences are true, right? That a lot of kids that I talk to will talk about their experiences and say, like, no one's ever really listened to me before. No one ever really believes what I have to say, or they just kind of think that I'm too young to have these feelings. And I never say that to kids. I think it's so important for them to feel validated and feel understood and loved that whatever, even if I may disagree with what they're going through, even if I may disagree with, their experiences or not even their experiences, but like how they're approaching something or how they're viewing what happened to them, I still have to understand it. I still have to be like, wow, that really sucks. I'm really sorry to hear that. Because that's what they want to hear. They want to hear someone that understands their experience, whether even if it's not like a one-on-one, like this is me understanding you, but it's more like I can empathize with the fact that you're hurting right now. And I can empathize with the idea that you are uncomfortable or you are not being taken seriously enough, or you're crying out and saying, help me. Like I'm going through pain, I'm going through issues, and people aren't like hearing you. They're just kind of shooing you away or saying that you're not being serious. And I think that for kids, it's understanding that like their experiences are serious because they're serious to them.